Welcome to my channel. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. The Bloodline lost to the Og Bloodline and CM Punk at the 2024 Survivor Series War Games Premium Live event. In the show's aftermath, Jacob Fatu sent a forward message to Solo Sikoa. Fatu has been a crucial member of the Bloodline and is loyal to Sikoa. In mid-2024, the tribal chief recruited the Samoan werewolf as his personal enforcer. At Survivor Series, Fatu suffered his second ever loss in WWE. However, he has yet to be pinned or submitted. Despite losing the War Games match, Fatu once again expressed his love for the tribal chief with his latest tweet. Rikishi believes Jacob Fatu will eventually betray Solo Sikoa and turn his back on the Bloodline. Since joining the group, the Samoan werewolf has terrorized the roster, dishing out hits on the tribal chief's orders. On the Off the Top podcast, Rikishi predicted Fatu to get himself over with the WWE Universe once he betrays Sikoa. He said, Fatu and the Bloodline's next move could be revealed on SmackDown after losing to the Og Bloodline and CM Punk at War Games. The feud between both groups seems far from over, especially with Sikoa still having possession of the Ulafala. In recent months, Sikoa has been pinned twice by Roman Reigns. At Bad Blood, the OTC got the victory for his side while teaming up with Cody Rhodes against the street champion of the island and Jacob Fatu. The dust from War Games settled, but the scars it left were fresh. The Bloodline, once the undisputed powerhouse of WWE, had tasted defeat. Roman Reigns' empire showed cracks, and the aura of invincibility surrounding them began to fade. Among the chaos, one figure loomed in the shadows, watching every move, analyzing every decision. Jacob Fatu, a man as fierce and dominant in his domain as any member of the Wwe family, decided it was time to make his presence felt. The camera cut to a dimly lit room where the air hung heavy with tension. A black flag adorned with a Samoan family crest draped across the wall. Jacob Fatu sat center stage, his muscular frame leaning forward, eyes piercing through the screen. He wore a traditional Samoan lava and an expression that was equal parts pride and disappointment. Solo, he began, his voice a low growl filled with conviction. You and I need to talk. Jacob paused, letting the silence speak for itself. The intensity of his gaze felt like a spear through the heart of anyone watching. USOs, Roman, you, me, we're all part of something bigger than belts, bigger than factions. We're the bloodline that built this industry. Our family name runs through this business like lava through the islands. We've carried the weight of our ancestors and made them proud. But what I saw at War Games, that wasn't pride. That was weakness. Jacob's words cut deep, not just at Solo, but at the entire foundation of the Bloodline. He leaned closer to the camera, his voice growing more personal, as if he were speaking directly to his cousin. You've been the enforcer, Solo, the silent storm. But even storms can be steered off course. Roman's got you chasing his approval like you're a kid trying to impress the chief. That's not who you are. That's not what we're made for. Fatu stood now, pacing as if the weight of his thoughts couldn't be contained by stillness. The tattoos across his chest and arms seemed to tell their own story of battle and resilience. When did we start playing by someone else's rules? When did the family become about serving one man's ego? Roman talks about being the tribal chief, but he's forgotten the first rule of being a leader. You fight for your people, not for yourself. He stopped and pointed to the camera, the motion deliberate and powerful. Solo, you've got the fire, the brutality, the instinct, but you're shackled, brah. They've got you fighting their battles when you should be carving your own path. Jacob's tone shifted, taking on an edge that could cut through steel. I'm not here to recruit you, Solo. I don't need to. You already know where you belong. I'm here to remind you of who you are. We're warriors, not pawns. We're meant to conquer, not follow." He smirked, but it wasn't friendly. It was the kind of smile that came before a storm. "Roman, Jimmy, Jay, they're playing politics. You're the one doing the real work. But what happens when Roman's done with you? When he decides you're not useful anymore?" Think about that. Jacob sat back down, his demeanor calm, but no less intense. He clasped his hands, leaning forward again. "I've been watching, Solo. Watching you take out legends, make your mark, and keep the bloodline afloat. And I'm telling you now, the family's future doesn't rest with Roman. It doesn't rest with Jimmy or Jay. It rests with us, the ones who aren't afraid to do what needs to be done." The implication hung in the air, heavy and undeniable. "This ain't just about wrestling either," Jacob continued, his voice softening slightly. "This is about respect. Respect for the family name. Respect for the sacrifices our people made to put us in this position. You think our ancestors fought to see us tear each other apart for scraps? Not man. They fought so we could stand tall together." Jacob sighed, the weight of his words sinking in. "You and me, Solo, we're cut from the same cloth, but cloth can't stay strong if it's being pulled in too many directions. It's time to decide who you're fighting for, Roman's ego or the legacy of our blood." The tone shifted once more, darker and more foreboding. "I'm not asking for your answer now," Jacob said, his voice cold. "But I'm telling you this, the world is watching, and so am I. If you keep letting Roman dictate your moves, it won't just be him who falls. It'll be you too." Jacob leaned back, his expression unreadable. "And trust me, Solo, if you fall, I'll be there not to pick you up, but to remind you why you fell in the first place." The screen faded to black, but Jacob's voice lingered, almost haunting in its finality. "You're better than this, Solo. We're better than this. Won't forget it." As the message ended, the WWE Universe was left buzzing with speculation. Was this the beginning of a rift within the Samoan dynasty? Would Solo Sikoa heed Jacob Fatu's words, or would he double down on his allegiance to the bloodline? One thing was certain: the Wwe family's legacy was far from written, and Jacob Fatu had just added a chapter that no one would soon forget. In the weeks to follow, the tension between Jacob Fatu and the bloodline would simmer, with fans eagerly anticipating whether this message would lead to a collision course between the two dominant forces, or perhaps even an unlikely alliance.